Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Z. I am a clinical psychologist specializing in adult transgender care. Welcome to my channel. If you are new or regular viewer here that has not had yet chance to subscribe, please make sure you do subscribe so that way everybody else can actually find this content. It helps algorithms and it helps me tremendously. And if you don't yet follow me on Instagram, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Link is below. We're a great, fun place to show up and to get additional tips, advice, guidance, and a lot of other information that I post on there. So please make sure you do follow me on Instagram. For this video, I want to talk to all of you ladies out there about this slippery slope that I see when feminizing, especially in the beginning of gender transition, when perhaps one is stepping into some elements of social transition, or perhaps you haven't even started transition yet, and you're feminizing in privacy in order to perhaps alleviate dysphoria, help yourself feel more connected to yourself, whatever your other reasons might be for feminizing. But let's talk about feminizing and specifically feminizing through a very specific feminine attributes that enhance physical features, such as breast forms, waist clinches, and buttocks and hip rounders. This additional items that a lot of trans women that I work with tend to step into to enhance their physical appearance. And let's talk about how that in the beginning helps you in so many ways. Not only maybe to feel confident, not only to feel more connected to yourself, not only to perhaps even envision. For example, if you're studying hormones and you're waiting for the breast growth, well, breast forms can help you envision what would your overall physique look like. And it can be incredibly powerful. If you are thinking about breast augmentation, again, wearing breast forms can really help you envision and even maybe affirm for yourself if you want to move forward with breast augmentation surgery. If you're getting waist clinchers, they can also help you in so many other ways. And all of these physical enhancing items that you add are, like I said, not only can be very powerful, but very empowering to your confidence. But there is the slippery slope for not for everybody, but for some individuals. And a slippery slope that tends to what started off essentially with decreasing dysphoria, then ends up now increasing distress, increasing dysphoria, increasing disconnection you feel towards yourself. And I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about why that tends to happen. And this video is in a way to keep you, for all of you to, who are engaging with those physical, external enhancers, to be aware that this might happen. And if it is starting to happen for you, I'm going to have some tips and ideas for you how to handle it. One of the slippery slopes, and one of the reasons why it starts from helping you decrease dysphoria to then increasing dysphoria, right? You would think, well, why? Why wearing breast forms would then suddenly make me feel more dysphoric and more uncomfortable? Well, one of the reasons is that after some time, especially when you actually start seeing changes, no matter how slight, on feminizing hormones. Maybe your breasts are just starting to bud in and grow, and maybe you're just starting to slowly experience redistribution of body fat. Maybe slowly you're starting to feel like you're getting rounder hips. Once you start having those natural changes come in, all of this physical enhancers can suddenly feel like cosplaying. You know that feeling like now you're suddenly wearing a costume or as if you're trying so hard. It can go from feeling authentic to now feeling inauthentic. And this shift from, let me just use breast forms throughout this whole video as a singular example, but it applies to all other physical enhancers. The shift from I was wearing breast forms and they made me feel so much more connected to my femininity and to my womanhood and helped me feel confident and helped me feel more assertive out there when I present to now these breast forms make me feel dysphoric. It makes me feel like I'm faking my womanhood, like I'm faking my femininity. So the reason why it tends to do that is a good thing. It's a good thing. Hear me out. It's a really, really good thing if you're experiencing from authentic to feeling inauthentic. And the reason why it's a good thing is because you're starting to embody and you're starting to embrace your natural, physical, feminine, woman attributes that are starting to show up naturally through your engagement with feminizing hormone, through taking feminizing hormones, even if those changes are very slow, even if the breasts are still small and developing and growing, well, guess what? They're your breasts. They're your breasts. And darlings, they're not going anywhere. They're yours. They're here to stay. It's not like breast forms, something you put on and something you take off. This feeling of editing on and removing is a lot of times starts to feel again this feeling of costumey, feeling of artificial, feeling of inauthenticity. And as trans women, I know that a lot of you already grappling with trying to hold on to your authentic relationship to your gender identity in the midst of not only cis women, not everybody, I'm one of those, the good ones, let's put it that way. Not only some cis women telling you that you're stealing some elements of their birthright, whatever that means, right? This entitlement. But some cis women telling you that you're not real women. And then you hear the same from some of your trans community, some from your trans sisters, that you're not real woman until, you know, you have breasts that are closer mimicking female breasts. And because you're having very small breasts and hormones, that's not enough. You need breast augmentation in order to really fit into womanhood. You're bombarded by so many messages that are telling you you're not good enough that it's already hard to hold on to your own authenticity. And so when you're starting to have your own natural changes, it can be so incredibly liberating. It can be so incredibly powerful. Again, with experience of breast growth, it can feel like, oh my God, like I said, this is mine. And it's not a breast form, and I don't have to take it off and I don't have to put it on. So this is one of the things that happens. This discrepancy between, in the beginning, breast forms felt authentic, now they feel inauthentic. By the way, there's nothing wrong with using breast forms or any other physical enhancers in the beginning, middle part of your journey, or throughout all the way to the end. If they continue, if all of those things continue to make you feel like a badass and incredible about yourself, go for it. There's cis women who use breast forms to enhance their breast sizes. Essentially, that's what a push-up bra is. So what I'm saying is that if it starts to feel no longer authentic to you, that's a really good thing. That means you're starting to embody your naturalness. You're, again, not that there's anything wrong with artificial exposure enhancers, but sometimes they have their time and place. And for some of us, it's time to move on. And for you, that might be a very good indicator to embrace what is evolving, to embrace what is coming to the surface, right? To embrace her and to start to fall in love with your own physical attributes and to accept the potential and the limitations of your attributes. And maybe the biggest breast size you're going to develop on hormones is going to be an A cup or a B cup. And maybe that's going to be as big as your breasts are going to go. That's your blueprint, right? That's your, just like in cis women, there's the blueprint in all of us, genetic blueprint that then ends up dictating certain things. Some women have larger breasts, some have smaller, some have longer torsos, some have shorter torsos, some have wider hips, some have narrow, some are more pear shaped, some are more straight shaped. Everybody's different. So you start to really appreciate your organic, natural unfoldment of your physical self. Now, your dysphoria may increase, as I said in the beginning, and that's a slippery slope with all these physical enhancers, not only because it starts to feel artificial, but it starts to increase when you struggle to accept your development. And it increases because you're holding on to the idea of this is not enough. And by holding on to the idea this is not enough, you're essentially holding on to the idea I'm not good enough. Because somewhere in your head, you have a standard. And it's not, chances are it's not your standard. It's a standard you introjected from what you've been told. Maybe that's what you've been told by where you live. Maybe that's what you've been told by women around you. Maybe that's what you've been told by trans women around you. Maybe the standard is to be beautiful, you need to have large breasts. And on hormones, you have small breasts. When you're wearing breast forms, it starts to feel inauthentic and uncomfortable. And this is not for you good enough. Dysphoria is going to go up because you're holding on expectations that may not be realistic. And you're also not integrating acceptance of your natural unfoldment. In other words, you set a bar for yourself too high. And so because your bar is so high, what naturally happening to you, you're not accepting, you're not allowing yourself to embrace it. And instead, you're comparing it to some crazy standard out there that you think that's how you ought to be. And as a result, you're starting to not only struggle with just gender dysphoria, but now you're starting to develop body dysmorphia on top of that. Because my breasts are not good enough, because they're too small, too small. I want a bigger, I need bigger, 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 bigger in order to whatever you hear out there. The truth is you don't. You are your own woman. All of you are your own type of women. You're developing into your own blueprint of that. And sure, down the road, some of you may make a decision that you may want to go and get breast augmentation surgery, right? We, all of us women, one way or another, enhance our appearances. I mean, look at me. I look very different without makeup. Let me tell you this. I dye my hair black. My natural color is like brown color, I think. It's been so long. This is all enhancers of appearance. I don't look like this in the morning. This is high definition cameras that I can see. It's honestly ridiculous how airbrush it makes me look. I don't look like this, period. I look close to this, right? There's some foundation there, but we all enhance our appearance one way or another. So It's okay to make decisions later on. But I encourage all of you to make sure those decisions arise out of your own relationship to yourself and your own standards for yourself. Do ever, ever listen to what anybody else tells you. But it is highly possible that dysphoria, all of the things that essentially were giving you comfort, are now doing nothing more than stirring up more discomfort. And that's something to pay attention to. And that's something to be aware of because, like I said, it can suddenly feel like cosplay, like you're pretending, even though you're not, because those things they may start to feel artificial, they may start to feel distant, they may start to feel unrelatable, very different than developing parts of yourself. And like I said, you go to sleep when you wake up with it, no matter how small that part is, it's still a change, right? It's still a shift toward feminine. So I encourage all of you to think about it. If you're using any of those physical enhancers, like I said, breast forms, weight clenches, um, hip enhancers, butt enhancers, nothing wrong with that. But be mindful of the time, if it happens for you, when it starts to feel no longer natural. And if it starts to feel no longer natural, recognize that as like, wow, I'm coming to a crossroads where I no longer need this. This has been a crutch. I've developed a dependency on it, and now I outgrew the dependency. That's a great way to put it. Now I outgrew this crutch. Now I no longer need it. I can go without it. A very dear client of mine, um, in the beginning of her transition, had this makeup kit of it's almost what do you call it? Oh, I forgot what you call it because I'm not good at that. I don't use it. It's where you basically you have like a stick to contouring sticks to contour parts of your face, right? And she was really good at it and she loved it. And she went on a trip and she called me in distress because she forgot her bag of contouring sticks. And she was falling apart because she felt so insecure going out without having her face contoured. At this point, she didn't even need that anymore. And I told her, I said, I want you to notice how dependent you have become on the contouring sticks, how they have become your crutch for you to feel safe and secure. And this is an opportunity for you to go without it, which she did. And what she discovered is that she doesn't need that. She doesn't need that crutch. She, she doesn't need it. She has no problem navigating the world without it and feeling comfortable and confident. So think about, also start thinking about what else in your repertoire might be a crutch that you may not even realize you don't need anymore. And this could be one of them. Comment below, let me know if you ever relied on physical enhancers. How did you know when it's no longer felt authentic? How did you know it was no longer for you? Did it also ever increase your dysphoria down the road? And did it ever start feeling like you're cosplaying, like you're putting on a costume? Comment below, let me know. I love reading all of your comments, and I will see you all like next time. Also, like this video and subscribe. I'd appreciate that. Bye bye.